I've been walking this earth long enough to know that loneliness after 60 doesn't always look like what people expect. It doesn't always look like an empty house or a person with no family or someone sitting alone in the dark. Sometimes it looks like a calendar full of birthdays you attended and a heart that still feels unheard. Let me tell you something that might sting a little, but it's the truth. After 60, loneliness can look like being surrounded. It can look like a living room with people in it, and you still feel like a guest in your own life. It can look like a phone full of contacts and nobody you feel safe calling. It can look like a grown child saying, "I've been so busy," and you smiling like that sentence doesn't land like a stone in your stomach. My name doesn't matter as much as what I've lived through. I've watched people I love disappear one by one, some to sickness, some to accidents, some to time itself. And you know what I learned? Aging doesn't only take strength from your legs, it takes the shape from your days. When you're younger, your life has built-in connection, work, errands, noise, people who need you every 5 minutes. Then one day you wake up and you realize the world doesn't need you the same way anymore, and nobody teaches you what to do with that. People think loneliness means you don't have anyone, but loneliness is not the absence of people, it's the absence of the kind of connection your heart is hungry for. And that's why someone can live alone and feel peaceful, while another person can live with family and feel invisible. That invisibility is the part no one warns you about. No one tells you what it's like when people stop asking for your opinion, when they cut your stories in half because they think the ending won't matter, when you start talking and somebody glances at their phone like your words are background music. So you adapt, and that's how loneliness starts after 60, quietly. It doesn't kick the door down, it slips in through small changes you don't mention. You stop inviting people over because your home doesn't feel nice enough anymore. You stop going out because parking is harder, stairs hurt more, and the night driving doesn't feel safe like it used to. You stop saying yes because the truth is, it takes you 2 hours to recover from 1 hour of being on. And then, one day, you notice something scary. You haven't laughed out loud in weeks, not because you're miserable, because nobody is close enough to pull it out of you. And if you're listening right now, I want you to hear me clearly. This is not you being dramatic. This is not you being weak. This is a real experience, and it has real consequences. Researchers separate two things that people mix together: social isolation and loneliness. Social isolation is when you objectively don't have enough contact or connection. Loneliness is the subjective feeling that your connection isn't meeting your needs. And that means you can have visitors and still feel lonely. You can have a family group chat and still feel like no one truly knows you anymore. After 60, loneliness often comes from losses stacked on top of each other. Loss of a partner, loss of friends, loss of mobility, loss of hearing or vision, loss of transportation, loss of routines that used to carry you into the world without you having to try. And once your world gets smaller, loneliness gets louder, because the mind is not built to sit in silence forever. It starts to replay, it starts to worry, it starts to talk to itself, and the voice it uses is not always kind. Now let me give you a scene, a real one, because loneliness is not a theory, it's a moment. It's a Sunday afternoon, the sun is good outside, the house is clean enough, the phone is right there, and you think, I should call somebody. But then another thought comes in, soft, polite, poisonous. They're busy. They have their own problems. I don't want to bother them. I don't want to sound needy. So you tell yourself you'll wait for a better time. Then it gets late, and by late afternoon you start feeling embarrassed because now it's been too long and calling feels like admitting you've been sitting in silence all day. So you don't call, and the next day you feel a little smaller because you didn't do it. And that's the part people don't understand. Loneliness isn't only painful, it's embarrassing. It makes you feel like you should be above needing people, when the truth is, needing people is part of being human at any age. Here's another way loneliness shows up after 60. It looks like being fine. You get very good at saying, I'm fine, because if you say the truth, I'm lonely, you're afraid the other person won't know what to do with it. Or worse, they'll say something light and quick like, you should get a hobby, and you'll realize they heard you, but they didn't understand you. So you go back to "I'm fine," and you become your own witness. Now listen, I'm not telling you this story to make you sad. I'm telling you because loneliness is not harmless. It's linked to real health risks: depression, anxiety, cognitive decline, dementia, and more. And when something can touch your mind and your body like that, it deserves respect. Some people act like loneliness is just in your head, but your head is attached to your heart, and your heart is attached to your health. So what do? I'm going to give you something you can actually use. Simple, not easy. Not 7 things, 3. 3 small moves that can change the direction of your days. First, pick one person, not 10, not everyone. 1. A neighbor, a cousin, a church friend, a former coworker, someone who has shown you even a little kindness. And you don't start with a speech, you start with one honest sentence. "I've been feeling lonelier lately." That's it. If you can't say it out loud, write it, text it, send an email, mail a letter if that's your style. But you have to make it real because loneliness grows in secrecy. Second, pick one place. Loneliness after 60 isn't always solved by deep conversation. Sometimes it's solved by repeated presence. Choose one place you can return to every week, somewhere people start recognizing your face: a community center, a class, a volunteer shift, a walking route where you see the same folks. Because here's what happens when you show up repeatedly. You stop being a stranger, and being a stranger is lonely. Third, pick one daily routine that connects you to life. Not a huge fitness plan, not a complicated schedule, one anchor. A morning walk to the mailbox, sitting outside with tea at the same time every day, a puzzle, a small garden task, a 5-minute call that you schedule like medicine. The goal isn't to stay busy. The goal is to give your day a shape so your mind doesn't melt into endless hours. And if you don't know where to start with the light. Get outside in the morning for a few minutes. Look at a tree, listen for a bird. It sounds too simple to matter until you realize your nervous system was begging for something gentle. Now, if you're watching this and you're not the older person, if you're a son, a daughter, a grandchild, listen to me. Don't only text, "How are you?" That question is too easy to answer with a lie. Instead, say something that gives them a door to walk through. Say, "Tell me one thing that happened today." Or, "What's been heavy on your mind?" Or, "Do you want company or do you want quiet together?" Because sometimes the cure for loneliness isn't entertainment. Sometimes it's simple witness. It's someone sitting near you and making you feel like you still belong on this earth. And to the person who is lonely right now, hear this from someone who has lived long enough to see patterns. Loneliness after 60 doesn't mean you failed. It means your life changed. It means your world got smaller. And the solution isn't shame. The solution is small courage repeated. One person, one place, one routine. That's how you rebuild connection when you're older, brick by brick. After 60, loneliness doesn't always look like being alone. Sometimes it looks like being surrounded and still feeling unseen. So, I'm asking you a real question, and I want a real answer. What does loneliness look like in your life? And if you're not lonely, call someone who might be. Not tomorrow, today.